Hey y'all, how you doing? Good? Good. My name's Aaron, I'm with Opal.Connection, and today we're going to cut a couple of opals. These are going to be Lightning Ridge opals. Lightning Ridge is a area of Australia that produces some of the world's finest opal. And the particular field that this comes from within Lightning Ridge is Alloa. I've been waiting to cut these pieces for a little bit now, so I'm happy that I have the occasion to show you what it's all about. Got a couple of rough opal pieces from Lightning Ridge, Australia. One of them is going to be a dark opal, one of them is going to be a black opal. The blue one's going to be the black one. Now look at that chip on this here. That's that color just underneath that skin that I'm looking for. That's where the value is in this piece of opal. I turn it over and it looks like with those striations, this could actually be a fossil. And for this one here, it's got a lot of sand. So I'm going to shine my what's called a gem torch through it, and just a flashlight, and I'm trying to see how much of it I can see through. I want to look for inclusions, and it looks like there's not too much light coming through, which isn't a good sign. With this green one, you can see it's coming through on the edges, and there's little blobs of black and dispersed in there on the edges, but I'm looking at this color right there. So any of that translucent area around the edges has to go, because the stone I'm looking for, the value is going to be right in here in the center. Probably an oval. We'll see what happens though. As I bring these over here, I'm going to look at it in a different light with the gem torch. I just want to see what I'm working with the best I can. Sometimes it just means turning down the light. So I'm seeing a little bit more glow, so you can tell sometimes it'll glow through the other end of the stone if there's, a whole area of color in there, but nothing's really coming up on the other side, which makes me think that the stone is just going to be sitting right there on the edge. And because it's kind of twisted on its plane, it's sort of making it so that it's going to be a much smaller area than just the crystal that's showing, just because you want to have a nice even dome across the stone. For this one, you can see much better. It's going to be like over 50% reduction, and it's going to be much smaller. That area, that black potch, that colorless opal there, is going to be sitting right underneath the color that I'm looking for. So the area with the chip and just that little circle in the middle right there. So all that translucent area, that's going to have to go away. And you can see that the little chunks of sand on the edges. See all those? Yeah, those are all inclusions. So if I wanted to keep the stone as is, those chunks of sand would come through, and the color would probably be uneven across the surface. You want it to be uniform, and you want the coverage to be fairly consistent across the face. So it looks like this stone also will be much smaller than the piece of rough that I'm starting with. So let's start on the wheel and get to grinding it down and down, and I'll show you periodically what it looks like under the macro lens. So what we're looking at here are a couple of rubs. Basically, you take the rough opal, you turn it into a rub, and then you put it on a dop stick. And if you're wondering what a dop stick is, it's a stick like you see here. I like to use shish kebab sticks because I can turn them with minimal movement and get the most rotations out of them. You always want to keep the stone spinning on the wheel to avoid deep scratches. I use the green lapidary wax because of the melting temperature of this wax and how hot it gets. It's just more appropriate for opals because I don't want them to crack. Now I heat up the stone, and then I heat up the wax, and I push them together. I shape the wax so that it sits beneath the stone and not over the edges or the over the top of the stone, because I don't want to get any wax on the wheel itself. So once I get these leveled up on the stone, I put out my flame, and I'm good to go for some fine shaping. So with fine shaping, I'll do the 600 grit wheel, and then I will basically use that wheel to make the final shape, and then I will polish it on this 1200 grit yellow wheel. These are Nova wheels that you can get for a 6 or 8 inch lapidary machine. And then final step is the cerium oxide polish, which is about 50,000 grit. And after you're done with the cerium oxide, it's time for the best part. Have it. That's opal cutting in a nutshell. As you can see, it's not always going to go as you plan with opal, and it kind of goes to show why the large pieces of opal are so valuable. When you get into a piece of opal that you think is going to be clean, it's almost always not, and you almost always are going to get a smaller stone than you think. And the price of opal is going up, and the amount of miners are going down in Lightning Ridge, so this is becoming more and more of a valuable gemstone, which is already rare to begin with. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.